Intelligent design, ID, is a religious argument for the existence of God, presented by its proponents as an evidence-based scientific theory about life's origins, though it has been discredited as pseudoscience. Proponents claim that certain features of the universe and of living things are best explained by an intelligent cause, not an undirected process such as natural selection. Educators, philosophers, and the scientific community have demonstrated that ID is a form of creationism that lacks empirical support and offers no testable or tenable hypotheses, so is not science. The leading proponents of ID are associated with the Discovery Institute, a fundamentalist Christian and politically conservative think tank based in the United States. Though the phrase intelligent design had featured previously in theological discussions of the design argument, the first publication of the term intelligent design in its present use as an alternative term for creationism was in Of Pandas and People, a 1989 creationist textbook intended for high school biology classes. The term was substituted into drafts of the book, directly replacing references to creation science and creationism, after the 1987 United States Supreme Court's Edwards v. Aguillard decision, which barred the teaching of creation science in public schools on constitutional grounds. From the mid-1990s, the Intelligent Design Movement, IDM, supported by the Discovery Institute, advocated inclusion of intelligent design in public school biology curricula. This led to the 2005 Kitzmiller v. Dover Area School District trial, in which U.S. District Judge John E. Jones III found that intelligent design was not science, that it cannot uncouple itself from its creationist, and thus religious, antecedents, and that the school district's promotion of it therefore violated the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, often described as the wall of separation between church and state. It is asserted that ID challenges the methodological naturalism inherent in modern science, though proponents concede that they have yet to produce a scientific theory. ID presents two main arguments against evolutionary explanations: irreducible complexity and specified complexity. These arguments offer assertions that certain features, biological and informational, respectively, are too complex to be the result of natural processes. As a positive argument against evolution, ID proposes an analogy between natural systems and human artifacts, a version of the theological argument from design for the existence of God. ID proponents then conclude by analogy that the complex features, as defined by ID, are evidence of design. Detailed scientific examination has rebutted the claims that evolutionary explanations are inadequate, and this premise of intelligent design, that evidence against evolution constitutes evidence for design, has been criticized as a false dichotomy. History. Origin of the concept. By 1910, evolution was not a topic of major religious controversy in America, but in the 1920s the fundamentalist modernist controversy in theology resulted in fundamentalist Christian opposition to teaching evolution, and the origins of modern creationism. Teaching of evolution was effectively suspended in U.S. public schools until the 1960s, and when evolution was then reintroduced into the curriculum, there was a series of court cases in which attempts were made to get creationism taught alongside evolution in science classes. Young Earth creationists, YEC, promoted creation science as an alternative scientific explanation of the world in which we live. This frequently invoked the argument from design to explain complexity in nature as demonstrating the existence of God. The argument from design, the teleological argument or argument from intelligent design, has been advanced in theology for centuries. It can be summarized briefly as: wherever complex design exists, there must have been a designer. Nature is complex, therefore nature must have had an intelligent designer. Thomas Aquinas presented it in his fifth proof of God's existence as a syllogism. In 1802, William Paley's Natural Theology presented examples of intricate purpose in organisms. His version of the watchmaker analogy argued that, in the same way that a watch has evidently been designed by a craftsman. Complexity and adaptation seen in nature must have been designed, and the perfection and diversity of these designs shows the designer to be omnipotent, the Christian God. Like creation science, intelligent design centers on Paley's religious argument from design, but while Paley's natural theology was open to deistic design through God-given laws, intelligent design seeks scientific confirmation of repeated miraculous interventions in the history of life. Creation science prefigured the intelligent design arguments of irreducible complexity, even featuring the bacterial flagellum. In the United States, attempts to introduce creation science in schools led to court rulings that it is religious in nature, and thus cannot be taught in public school science classrooms. Intelligent design is also presented as science, and shares other arguments with creation science but avoids literal biblical references to such things as the flood story from the book of Genesis or using Bible verses to age the earth. Barbara Forrest writes that the intelligent design movement began in 1984 with the book The Mystery of Life's Origin, Reassessing Current Theories, CO written by creationist Charles B. Thaxton, a chemist, with two other authors, and published by John A. Buell's Foundation for Thought and Ethics. Thaxton held a conference in 1988, Sources of Information Content in DNA, which attracted creationists such as Stephen C. Meyer. In March 1986, a review by Meyer used information theory to suggest that messages transmitted by DNA in the cell show specified complexity specified by intelligence, and must have originated with an intelligent agent. In November of that year, Thaxton described his reasoning as a more sophisticated form of Paley's argument from design. At the Sources of Information Content in DNA conference in 1988, he said that his intelligent cause view was compatible with both metaphysical naturalism and supernaturalism. Intelligent design avoids identifying or naming the intelligent designer. It merely states that one, or more, must exist, but leaders of the movement have said the designer is the Christian God. Whether this lack of specificity about the designer's identity in public discussions is a genuine feature of the concept, or just a posture taken to avoid alienating those who would separate religion from the teaching of science, has been a matter of great debate between supporters and critics of intelligent design. The Kitzmiller v. Dover Area School District Court ruling held the latter to be the case. Origin of the term. Since the Middle Ages, discussion of the religious argument from design or teleological argument in theology, with its concept of intelligent design, has persistently referred to the theistic creator God. Although ID proponents chose this provocative label for their proposed alternative to evolutionary explanations, they have de-emphasized their religious antecedents and denied that ID is natural theology, while still presenting ID as supporting the argument for the existence of God. While intelligent design proponents have pointed out past examples of the phrase intelligent design that they said were not creationist and faith-based, they have failed to show that these usages had any influence on those who introduced the label in the intelligent design movement. Variations on the phrase appeared in Young Earth creationist publications. A 1967 book CO written by Percival Davis referred to design according to which basic organisms were created. In 1970, A. E. Wilder-Smith published The Creation of Life, a cybernetic approach to evolution which defended Paley's design argument with computer calculations of the improbability of genetic sequences, which he said could not be explained by evolution but required the abhorred necessity of divine intelligent activity behind nature, and that the same problem would be expected to beset the relationship between the designer behind nature and the intelligently designed part of nature known as man. In a 1984 article as well as Indiana his affidavit to Edwards v. Aguillard, Dean H. Kenyon defended creation science by stating that biomolecular systems require intelligent design and engineering know-how, citing Wilder-Smith. Creationist Richard B. Bliss used the phrase creative design in Origins, Two Models, Evolution, Creation, 1976, and in Origins, Creation or Evolution, 1988, wrote that while evolutionists are trying to find non-intelligent ways for life to occur, the creationist insists that an intelligent design must have been there in the first place. The first systematic use of the term, defined in a glossary and claimed to be other than creationism, was in Of Pandas and People, co-authored by Davis and Kenyon. Of Pandas and People. The most common modern use of the words intelligent design as a term intended to describe a field of inquiry began after the United States Supreme Court ruled in 1987 in the case of Edwards v. Aguillard that it is unconstitutional for a state to require the teaching of creationism in public school science curricula. A Discovery Institute report says that Charles B. Thaxton, editor of Pandas, had picked the phrase up from a NASA scientist, and thought, "That's just what I need, it's a good engineering term." In drafts of the book, over 100 uses of the root word creation, such as creationism and creation science, were changed, almost without exception, to intelligent design, while creationists was changed to design proponents or, in one instance, design proponentsists. In June 1988, Thaxton held a conference titled Sources of Information Content in DNA in Tacoma, Washington, and in December decided to use the label intelligent design for his new creationist movement. Stephen C. Meyer was at the conference, and later recalled that the term intelligent design came up. Of Pandas and People was published in 1989, and in addition to including all the current arguments for ID, was the first book to make systematic use of the terms intelligent design and design proponents as well as the phrase design theory, defining the term intelligent design in a glossary and representing it as not being creationism. It thus represents the start of the modern intelligent design movement. Intelligent design was the most prominent of around 15 new terms it introduced as a new lexicon of creationist terminology to oppose evolution without using religious language. It was the first place where the phrase intelligent design appeared in its primary present use, as stated both by its publisher John A. Buell, and by William A. Dembski in his expert witness report for Kitzmiller v. Dover Area School District. The National Center for Science Education, NCSE, has criticized the book for presenting all of the basic arguments of intelligent design proponents and being actively promoted for use in public schools before any research had been done to support these arguments. Although presented as a scientific textbook, philosopher of science Michael Ruse considers the contents worthless and dishonest. An American Civil Liberties Union lawyer described it as a political tool aimed at students who did not know science or understand the controversy over evolution and creationism. One of the authors of the science framework used by California schools, Kevin Padian, condemned it for its subtext, intolerance for honest science and incompetence. Concepts. Irreducible complexity. The term irreducible complexity was introduced by biochemist Michael Behe in his 1996 book Darwin's Black Box, though he had already described the concept in his contributions to the 1993 revised edition of Pandas and People. Behe defines it as a single system which is composed of several well-matched interacting parts that contribute to the basic function, wherein the removal of any one of the parts causes the system to effectively cease functioning. Behe uses the analogy of a mousetrap to illustrate this concept. A mousetrap consists of several interacting pieces: the base, the catch, the spring, and the hammer, all of which must be in place for the mousetrap to work. Removal of any one piece destroys the function of the mousetrap. Intelligent design advocates assert that natural selection could not create irreducibly complex systems, because the selectable function is present only when all parts are assembled. Behe argued that irreducibly complex biological mechanisms include the bacterial flagellum of E. coli, the blood-clotting cascade, cilia, and the adaptive immune system. Critics point out that the irreducible complexity argument assumes that the necessary parts of a system have always been necessary and therefore could not have been added sequentially. They argue that something that is at first merely advantageous can later become necessary as other components change. Furthermore, they argue, evolution often proceeds by altering pre-existing parts or by removing them from a system, rather than by adding them. This is sometimes called the scaffolding objection by an analogy with scaffolding, which can support an irreducibly complex building until it is complete and able to stand on its own. Behe has acknowledged using sloppy prose, and that his argument against Darwinism does not add up to a logical proof. Irreducible complexity has remained a popular argument among advocates of intelligent design. In the Dover trial, the court held that Professor Behe's claim for irreducible complexity has been refuted in peer-reviewed research papers and has been rejected by the scientific community at large. Specified complexity. In 1986, Charles B. Thaxton, a physical chemist and creationist, used the term specified complexity from information theory when claiming that messages transmitted by DNA in the cell were specified by intelligence, and must have originated with an intelligent agent. The intelligent design concept of specified complexity was developed in the 1990s by mathematician, philosopher, and theologian William A. Dembski. Dembski states that when something exhibits specified complexity, i.e., is both complex and specified, simultaneously, one can infer that it was produced by an intelligent cause, i.e., that it was designed, rather than being the result of natural processes. He provides the following examples: a single letter of the alphabet is specified without being complex. A long sentence of random letters is complex without being specified. A Shakespearean sonnet is both complex and specified. He states that details of living things can be similarly characterized, especially the patterns of molecular sequences in functional biological molecules such as DNA. Dembski defines complex specified information, CSI, as anything with a less than 1 in 10,150 chance of occurring by natural chance. Critics say that this renders the argument a tautology. Complex specified information cannot occur naturally because Dembski has defined it thus, so the real question becomes whether or not CSI actually exists in nature. The conceptual soundness of Dembski's specified complexity/CSI argument has been discredited in the scientific and mathematical communities. Specified complexity has yet to be shown to have wide applications in other fields, as Dembski asserts. John Wilkins and Wesley R. Ellsbury characterize Dembski's explanatory filter as eliminative because it eliminates explanations sequentially, first regularity, then chance, finally defaulting to design. They argue that this procedure is flawed as a model for scientific inference because the asymmetric way it treats the different possible explanations renders it prone to making false conclusions. Richard Dawkins, another critic of intelligent design, argues in The God Delusion, 2006, that allowing for an intelligent designer to account for unlikely complexity only postpones the problem, as such a designer would need to be at least as complex. Other scientists have argued that evolution through selection is better able to explain the observed complexity, as is evident from the use of selective evolution to design certain electronic, aeronautic, and automotive systems that are considered problems too complex for human intelligent designers. Fine-tuned universe. Intelligent design proponents have also occasionally appealed to broader teleological arguments outside of biology, most notably an argument based on the fine-tuning of universal constants that make matter and life possible and which are argued not to be solely attributable to chance. These include the values of fundamental physical constants, the relative strength of nuclear forces, electromagnetism, and gravity between fundamental particles, as well as the ratios of masses of such particles. Intelligent design proponent and Center for Science and Culture fellow Guillermo Gonzalez argues that if any of these values were even slightly different, the universe would be dramatically different, making it impossible for many chemical elements and features of the universe, such as galaxies, to form. Thus, proponents argue, an intelligent designer of life was needed to ensure that the requisite features were present to achieve that particular outcome. Scientists have generally responded that these arguments are poorly supported by existing evidence. Victor J. Stenger and other critics say both intelligent design and the weak form of the anthropic principle are essentially a tautology. In his view, these arguments amount to the claim that life is able to exist because the universe is able to support life. The claim of the improbability of a life-supporting universe has also been criticized as an argument by lack of imagination for assuming no other forms of life are possible. Life as we know it might not exist if things were different, but a different sort of life might exist in its place. A number of critics also suggest that many of the stated variables appear to be interconnected and that calculations made by mathematicians and physicists suggest that the emergence of a universe similar to ours is quite probable. Intelligent designer. The contemporary intelligent design movement formulates its arguments in secular terms and intentionally avoids identifying the intelligent agent, or agents, they posit. Although they do not state that God is the designer is often implicitly hypothesized to have intervened in a way that only a God could intervene. Dembski, in The Design Inference, 1998, speculates that an alien culture could fulfill these requirements. Of Pandas and People proposes that SETI illustrates an appeal to intelligent design in science. In 2000, philosopher of science Robert T. Pennock suggested the Raelian UFO religion as a real-life example of an extraterrestrial intelligent designer view that make many of the same bad arguments against evolutionary theory as creationists. The authoritative description of intelligent design, however, explicitly states that the universe displays features of having been designed. Acknowledging the paradox, Dembski concludes that no intelligent agent who is strictly physical could have presided over the origin of the universe or the origin of life. The leading proponents have made statements to their supporters that they believe the designer to be the Christian God, to the exclusion of all other religions. Beyond the debate over whether intelligent design is scientific, a number of critics argue that existing evidence makes the design hypothesis appear unlikely, irrespective of its status in the world of science. For example, Jerry Coyne asks why a designer would give us a pathway for making vitamin C, but then destroy it by disabling one of its enzymes, C. pseudogene, and why a designer would not stock oceanic islands with reptiles, mammals, amphibians, and freshwater fish, despite the suitability of such islands for these species. Coyne also points to the fact that the flora and fauna on those islands resemble that of the nearest mainland, even when the environments are very different, as evidence that species were not placed there by a designer. Previously, in Darwin's Black Box, he had argued that we are simply incapable of understanding the designer's motives, so such questions cannot be answered definitively. Odd designs could, for example, have been placed there by the designer for a reason, for artistic reasons, for variety, to show off, for some as yet undetected practical purpose, or for some unguessable reason, or they might not. Coyne responds that in light of the evidence, either life resulted not from intelligent design, but from evolution, or the intelligent designer is a cosmic prankster who designed everything to make it look as though it had evolved. Intelligent design proponents such as Paul Nelson avoid the problem of poor design in nature by insisting that we have simply failed to understand the perfection of the design. He cites Paley as his inspiration, but he differs from Paley's expectation of a perfect creation and proposes that designers do not necessarily produce the best design they can. He suggests that, like a parent not wanting to spoil a child with extravagant toys, the designer can have multiple motives for not giving priority to excellence in engineering. He says that another problem with the argument from imperfection is that it critically depends on a psychoanalysis of the unidentified designer. Yet the reasons that a designer would or would not do anything are virtually impossible to know unless the designer tells you specifically what those reasons are. This reliance on inexplicable motives of the designer makes intelligent design scientifically untestable. Retired UC Berkeley law professor, author, and intelligent design advocate Philip E. Johnson puts forward a core definition that the designer creates for a purpose, giving the example that in his view AIDS was created to punish immorality and is not caused by HIV, but such motives cannot be tested by scientific methods. Asserting the need for a designer of complexity also raises the question: what designed the designer? Intelligent design proponents say that the question is irrelevant to or outside the scope of intelligent design. Richard Wine counters that scientific explanations often create new unanswered questions. But, in assessing the value of an explanation, these questions are not irrelevant. They must be balanced against the improvements in our understanding which the explanation provides. Invoking an unexplained being to explain the origin of other beings, ourselves, is little more than question begging. The new question raised by the explanation is as problematic as the question which the explanation purports to answer. Richard Dawkins sees the assertion that the designer does not need to be explained as a thought-terminating cliché. In the absence of observable, measurable evidence, the very question "what designed the designer?" leads to an infinite regression from which intelligent design proponents can only escape by resorting to religious creationism or logical contradiction. Movement. The intelligent design movement is a direct outgrowth of the creationism of the 1980s. The scientific and academic communities, along with a U.S. federal court, view intelligent design as either a form of creationism or as a direct descendant that is closely intertwined with traditional creationism, and several authors explicitly refer to it as intelligent design creationism. The movement is headquartered in the Center for Science and Culture, established in 1996 as the creationist wing of the Discovery Institute to promote a religious agenda calling for broad social, academic and political changes. The Discovery Institute's intelligent design campaigns have been staged primarily in the United States, although efforts have been made in other countries to promote intelligent design. Leaders of the movement say intelligent design exposes the limitations of scientific orthodoxy and of the secular philosophy of naturalism. Intelligent design proponents allege that science should not be limited to naturalism and should not demand the adoption of a naturalistic philosophy that dismisses out of hand any explanation that includes a supernatural cause. The overall goal of the movement is to reverse the stifling dominance of the materialist worldview represented by the theory of evolution in favor of a science consonant with Christian and theistic convictions. Philip E. Johnson stated that the goal of intelligent design is to cast creationism as a scientific concept. All leading intelligent design proponents are fellows or staff of the Discovery Institute and its Center for Science and Culture. Nearly all intelligent design concepts and the associated movement are the products of the Discovery Institute, which guides the movement and follows its wedge strategy while conducting its Teach the Controversy campaign and their other related programs. Leading intelligent design proponents have made conflicting statements regarding intelligent design. In statements directed at the general public, they say intelligent design is not religious. When addressing conservative Christian supporters, they state that intelligent design has its foundation in the Bible. Recognizing the need for support, the Institute affirms its Christian, evangelistic orientation. Alongside a focus on influential opinion makers, we also seek to build up a popular base of support among our natural constituency, namely, Christians. We will do this primarily through apologetic seminars. We intend these to encourage and equip believers with new scientific evidences that support the faith, as well as to popularize our ideas in the broader culture. Barbara Forrest, an expert who has written extensively on the movement, describes this as being due to the Discovery Institute's obfuscating its agenda as a matter of policy. She has written that the movement's activities betray an aggressive, systematic agenda for promoting not only intelligent design creationism, but the religious worldview that undergirds it. Religion and leading proponents. Although arguments for intelligent design by the intelligent design movement are formulated in secular terms and intentionally avoid positing the identity of the designer, the majority of principal intelligent design advocates are publicly religious Christians who have stated that, in their view, the designer proposed in intelligent design is the Christian conception of God. Stuart Burgess, Philip E. Johnson, William A. Dembski, and Stephen C. Meyer are evangelical Protestants, Michael Behe is a Roman Catholic, and Jonathan Wells is a member of the Unification Church. Non-Christian proponents include David Klinghoffer, who is Jewish, Michael Denton and David Berlinski, who are agnostic, and Muzaffar Iqbal, a Pakistani-Canadian Muslim. Philip E. Johnson has stated that cultivating ambiguity by employing secular language in arguments that are carefully crafted to avoid overtones of theistic creationism is a necessary first step for ultimately reintroducing the Christian concept of God as the designer. Johnson explicitly calls for intelligent design proponents to obfuscate their religious motivations so as to avoid having intelligent design identified as just another way of packaging the Christian evangelical message. Johnson emphasizes that, the first thing that has to be done is to get the Bible out of the discussion. This is not to say that the biblical issues are unimportant, the point is rather that the time to address them will be after we have separated materialist prejudice from scientific fact. The strategy of deliberately disguising the religious intent of intelligent design has been described by William A. Dembski in The Design Inference. In this work, Dembski lists a god or an alien life force as two possible options for the identity of the designer. However, in his book Intelligent Design, The Bridge Between Science and Theology, 1999, Dembski states, "Christ is indispensable to any scientific theory, even if its practitioners don't have a clue about him. The pragmatics of a scientific theory can, to be sure, be pursued without recourse to Christ. But the conceptual soundness of the theory can in the end only be located in Christ." Dembski also stated, "ID is part of God's general revelation. Not only does intelligent design rid us of this ideology, which suffocates the human spirit, but, in my personal experience, I've found that it opens the path for people to come to Christ." Both Johnson and Dembski cite the Bible's Gospel of John as the foundation of intelligent design. Barbara Forrest contends such statements reveal that leading proponents see intelligent design as essentially religious in nature, not merely a scientific concept that has implications with which their personal religious beliefs happen to coincide. She writes that the leading proponents of intelligent design are closely allied with the ultra-conservative Christian Reconstructionism movement. She lists connections of current and former Discovery Institute fellows Philip E. Johnson, Charles B. Thaxton, Michael Behe, Richard Weikart, Jonathan Wells and Francis J. Beckwith to leading Christian Rec.
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.